The holding cell's harsh lights accentuated the unusual beauty of the alien prisoner. Nyara, royal heir to the Luminari Collective, sat with perfect posture despite her restraints. Her purple skin caught the light like polished amethyst, and her silver hair cascaded down her shoulders in luminescent waves. The standard-issue containment garments, a simple white top and matching bottom, did little to diminish her regal bearing. Colonel Darius Hayes entered the cell, his tall frame casting a long shadow. His weathered face remained impassive, but his eyes betrayed curiosity. In 15 years of military service, he'd never encountered a luminari, especially not one of royal lineage. "The translator chip indicates you understand our language," he said, pulling a chair opposite her. "I have questions about your presence in restricted Earth airspace." Nyara lifted her chin. Her blue eyes, reminiscent of Earth's summer skis but with an inner light of their own, met his gaze unflinchingly. "My vessel was damaged during an internal dispute. The crash was unintentional." Her voice carried a melodic quality, almost hypnotic despite the translation. "I am Nyara Valentir, High Princess of the Seven Systems and Keeper of the Luminari Flame." Darius consulted his tablet. "Your ship's weaponry suggests otherwise. Intelligence indicates Luminari expansion forces have been probing our defenses for months." "Those are not my forces," Nyara replied, a flash of emotion crossing her face. "The collective is complicated, not unlike your Earth politics, I imagine." Darius leaned forward. "Complicated doesn't explain advanced warships at our doorstep." Nyara's shoulders tensed, then slumped, a surprisingly human gesture of defeat. "The ruling council, led by my uncle Zoran, has been planning expansion. I've opposed this path." "A convenient explanation while in captivity," Darius noted dryly. Nyara's luminescent eyes flashed. "If I wanted to deceive you, Colonel, I would claim diplomatic immunity and demand release. Instead, I offer you truth." She leaned forward as far as her restraints allowed, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I was born to command legions across galaxies, Colonel Hayes, but now—" A tremor passed through her, vulnerability breaking through her composure. "I will serve your people, serve you if you spare my life. My knowledge of Luminari technology and strategy would give Earth an advantage." Darius remained silent, studying her. Military protocol dictated caution with alien captives, especially those making desperate offers. Yet something in her demeanor suggested sincerity. "Why would a princess betray her people?" he finally asked. "I'm not betraying them. I'm saving them from a disastrous war." A single tear traced down her cheek, glowing slightly like liquid starlight. "My uncle's ambitions will destroy both our civilizations." Outside the cell, an aide signaled urgently. Darius stood, his expression unreadable. "We'll continue this discussion later, Princess." As he turned to leave, Nyara called out, "Colonel, the attack force, they're closer than you think. Hours, not days." Darius paused at the threshold. "If you're lying." "I'm not." Their eyes met again, a silent understanding passing between them. "I have as much to lose as you do." After Darius left, Nyara closed her eyes, her thoughts turning to the home she might never see again. The rebellion she'd planned against her uncle now seemed like a distant dream. But perhaps here, among these humans, she could find another way to save her people, starting with this serious-eyed colonel who'd shown her the first hint of respect since her capture. The military command center hummed with tense activity. Holographic displays showed Earth's defense grid and the blinking red markers of unidentified craft at the edge of the solar system. Colonel Darius Hayes stood before the assembled leadership, aware that his recommendation regarding the Luminari princess would either make or break his career. "General Blackwood, the prisoner has provided intelligence consistent with our deep space monitoring," Darius reported, his voice steady despite the stakes. "The Luminari battle group will reach our outer defenses within 18 hours." General Eleanor Blackwood, a stern woman with salt and pepper hair cut close to her scalp, frowned. And you believe this alien princess, the same one who conveniently crashed on our planet just days before an invasion. I've reviewed her ship's navigation logs and communication records, Darius countered. They support her claim of fleeing internal conflict. More importantly, she's offering tactical information we can verify. Admiral Jensen, a heavy-set man with calculating eyes, leaned forward. What exactly does she want in exchange for this? Cooperation. Asylum, Darius answered simply, and a voice in any negotiations with her people. Laughter erupted from the far end of the table. Colonel Reeves, head of military intelligence, shook his head. She's playing you, Hayes. These Luminari are masters of manipulation. It's documented in every first contact scenario with other systems. With respect, sir, I believe her intentions are genuine, Darius insisted. The princess opposes her uncle's expansionist agenda. If we what, Colonel? General Blackwood interrupted. Form an alliance with a captured alien royal while her fleet bears down on us. This isn't a Hollywood movie. The room fell silent as the base's AI announced. Incoming transmission from Luminari Command Ship General. The central display flickered, revealing the imposing figure of a male Luminari. His purple skin was darker than Nyara's, etched with ceremonial scarification that glowed with an inner light. Silver eyes, unlike Nyara's blue ones, surveyed the room coldly. I am Supreme Commander Zoran of the Luminari Collective. You hold my niece, Princess Nyara. Return her immediately or face consequences beyond your comprehension. Darius noticed the subtle differences between Zoran's formal speech patterns and Nyara's more nuanced communication. The princess had clearly spent time studying human culture. General Blackwood stepped forward. Your forces are in restricted space, Commander. Withdraw immediately. Zoran's expression remained impassive. You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. You have 6 hours to return the princess. The transmission ended abruptly. Admiral Jensen cursed under his breath. I need to speak with Princess Nyara again, Darius said urgently. She may know Zoran's tactical approach. Make it quick, General Blackwood ordered. And Hayes, don't let those pretty alien eyes cloud your judgment. When Darius returned to the holding cell, he found Nyara packing, her restraints reduced to a monitoring bracelet. She turned to him immediately. He's made contact, hasn't he, my uncle? Darius nodded. 6-hour ultimatum. What's his real objective here? Not me, she replied, her expression darkening. I'm merely a convenient excuse. Zoran wants Earth's resources, particularly your rare minerals and water. And what? Nyara hesitated. Human genetic material. My people face a fertility crisis. Zoran believes human DNA holds the key to our survival. Darius felt a chill run down his spine. You're talking about harvesting. Among other things, she confirmed grimly. But there are alternatives, collaborative research, medical exchange, ways that don't involve conquest. She moved closer to him, close enough that he could see flecks of silver in her blue eyes. Help me stop him, Colonel. I can provide override codes for their shield systems. Why would you betray your own uncle, your own peoples? Because what he plans isn't protection, it's genocide. Of your people first, then eventually mine. Her hand, warm and surprisingly soft, touched his arm. I was raised to rule justly, Darius. That means protecting the innocent, regardless of which world they call home. Something in her touch, the way she said his name, created an unexpected connection. For a moment, they weren't alien and human, princess and soldier, just two beings trying to prevent catastrophe. If we do this, Darius said quietly, there's no going back for you. Nyara's gaze didn't waver. I made my choice when I sabotaged my own ship to crash here. I knew Earth's military would find me before Zoran's agents could. Darius's communication device chimed urgently. He checked it, his expression grave. What is it? Nyara asked. Luminary ships are accelerating, they're not waiting 6 hours. He met her eyes. We're out of time, princess. Then we act now, she said, suddenly every inch the royal commander. Take me to your weapons systems. I'll show you how to penetrate their defenses. As they hurried through the corridor, alert klaxons began to wail. The base was moving to combat readiness, and Darius had just made the unconventional decision to bring an alien princess directly into Earth's military command center. A decision that would either save them all or doom them completely. The command center erupted into chaos as Darius entered with Nyara. General Blackwood's eyes widened in outrage. Colonel Hayes, have you lost your mind bringing the prisoner here? General, with respect, we need her expertise, Darius countered firmly. Princess Nyara has offered critical intelligence on luminary shield frequencies. Admiral Jensen stepped between them. Blackwood, we're tracking 27 luminary vessels entering formation. Our conventional weapons won't penetrate their defenses. The general's jaw tightened. Fine, but she's your responsibility, Hayes. She turned to Nyara with undisguised suspicion. One wrong move, Your Highness, and this alliance ends. Nyara nodded solemnly. Understood, General. The tactical display showed the approaching luminary fleet, their formation unmistakably offensive. Nyara stepped forward, her eyes scanning the holographic projections. They're using a Kersh formation, she explained, pointing to the lead vessels. The command ship there, the larger one, will remain protected while the flanking vessels create a disruptive field to confuse your targeting systems. She turned to the weapons officer. May I? After a hesitant nod from Darius, the officer stepped aside. Nyara's fingers moved deftly across the unfamiliar human interface. Luminary shields operate on a quantum frequency rotation, she explained as she worked. But there's a 3-second vulnerability during each cycle if you time your missiles precisely. She entered a final sequence. There, your targeting systems should now detect the frequency gaps. Signal incoming, a communications officer announced suddenly. It's targeted directly at. A blinding flash erupted from Nyara's monitoring bracelet. She cried out in pain as it emitted a high-pitched whine. It's a neural disruptor, she gasped. Zoran's override. Darius reacted instantly, grabbing a nearby tool and prying the bracelet off. It clattered to the floor, still pulsing with energy. Secure that device, he ordered as Nyara collapsed against the console, breathing heavily. Thank you, she whispered, her normally radiant skin now pale. He tried to silence me. Darius supported her weight. Are you all right? I will be. Their eyes met briefly before she straightened, composing herself. We have more urgent concerns. The radar officer's voice cut through the moment. Multiple launch signatures, luminary missiles incoming. Evasive protocols, General Blackwood commanded. All personnel to battle stations. The base shuddered as the first impact struck the outer defenses. Ceiling panels crashed down, and emergency lighting bathed the command center in red. The base defenses won't hold against a sustained attack, Nyara warned, steadying herself against a console. We need to target their command ship directly. Admiral Jensen shook his head. Impossible. It's too well protected and our long-range bombers can't get close enough. What about my ship? Nyara suggested. It's damaged, but the weapons systems are intact. The Luminari won't fire on a royal vessel, at least not immediately. Darius considered this. It would be a suicide mission. Not necessarily, Nyara replied, with a skilled pilot. Their eyes met and Darius understood. You want me to fly it? Us, she corrected. I know the systems, you know combat tactics. Together we might succeed. Another explosion rocked the facility, more violent than the last. A support beam crashed down, narrowly missing General Blackwood. We've lost the eastern defense grid, someone shouted. Blackwood steadied herself, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Do it, Hayes, take the princess and her ship if there's even a chance. Darius nodded grimly. We'll need a security team to escort us to the hangar. No time, Nyara said urgently. The base is compromised. I can sense Luminari boarding parties. They're using phase shift technology to bypass your walls. As if confirming her words, the doors to the command center burst open. 3 Luminari soldiers materialized, their armor gleaming and weapons raised. What happened next stunned everyone. Nyara moved with inhuman speed, her body flowing like liquid silver. She disarmed the first soldier with a precise strike, spun to knock the second unconscious with a kick, and disabled the third with a pressure point technique that left him paralyzed. The entire encounter lasted less than 5 seconds. The command center fell silent as Nyara stood among the fallen soldiers, her chest heaving slightly. She turned to face the astonished humans. Royal combat training, she explained simply, picking up one of the fallen weapons. We should go, more will follow. Darius stared at her with newfound respect. You could have escaped at any time, couldn't you? A hint of a smile touched her lips. Perhaps, but where would I go? My choices led me here, Colonel. She extended the captured weapon to him. Now shall we save both our worlds? The journey to the hangar bay became a harrowing gauntlet. Twice more they encountered Luminari soldiers, and twice more Darius witnessed Nyara's extraordinary combat abilities, not just her physical prowess but her tactical thinking. She didn't hesitate to defend him when a soldier got too close, taking a glancing blow to her shoulder in the process. When they finally reached her damaged ship, Nyara pressed her palm to the hull. The entrance spiraled open in response to her touch. Biorecognition, she explained, guiding him inside. Only Luminari royalty can command these vessels. As they settled into the cockpit, Darius noticed how the controls seemed to pulse with life. The ship is partially sentient, Nyara explained, her hands dancing across symbols that glowed at her touch. It responds to my thoughts as well as physical commands. Darius took the co-pilot's position. Will it accept my input? It will now. She placed her hand over his and a warm sensation passed between them. The console before him illuminated. I've given you secondary authorization. Their eyes met again, longer this time. Something unspoken passed between them, trust perhaps, or something deeper neither was ready to name. Ready, she asked softly. Darius nodded, feeling the ship come alive around them. Let's save our worlds. The royal vessel hummed to life, its systems responding to Nyara's commands with fluid precision. Through the view screen, Darius watched the hangar bay doors slowly part, revealing the chaos beyond. Earth's defense forces engaged in desperate battle with the Luminari fleet. The ship recognizes me as its primary pilot, Nyara explained, her fingers dancing across the luminescent controls. But it's damaged. We'll have limited shield capacity and only one weapons array. Darius studied the unfamiliar combat display. Will it be enough? It has to be, she gave him a sidelong glance. Are all humans this optimistic in the face of impossible odds? Despite everything, he found himself smiling. Only the foolish ones. The ship lifted smoothly and accelerated through the hangar doors. Immediately, the battle surrounded them. Energy weapons crisscrossing the sky, Earth fighters engaging with Luminari scout ships, the massive command vessel looming in the distance. They've spotted us, Darius warned as several enemy ships altered course. Nyara's expression remained focused, expected but watch. She activated a communication array, and symbols Darius couldn't comprehend flashed across the screen. The pursuing ships suddenly broke off their approach. Royal authentication codes, she explained. They're programmed never to fire on confirmed royal vessels. It won't last long. Once Zoran realizes I'm aboard, he'll override the protocols. Darius took control of the tactical systems. Then let's make this count. What's our approach? The command ship has a vulnerability, a thermal exhaust port near the main reactor core. She piloted the ship in a sweeping arc, evading debris from destroyed fighters. Standard design in all Luminary capital ships. My father insisted on it, a failsafe if any ship fell into enemy hands. Your father sounds like a wise ruler. Pain flashed across Nyara's features. He was, until Zoran poisoned him and seized control of the collective. Darius glanced at her. That's why you fled. Partly, she executed a perfect evasive maneuver as energy beams lanced past them. I discovered Zoran's plans for Earth and other worlds. He believes conquest is the only path to saving our species. Is it? Darius asked quietly. You mentioned a fertility crisis. Nyara's hands tightened on the controls. Our people have grown increasingly sterile over generations. Something in our evolution, our dependency on technology, Zoran believes forcible genetic integration with compatible species is our only hope. And you disagree? I believe cooperation yields better results than subjugation. She looked at him, her blue eyes intense. My research team found promising results with voluntary genetic exchange programs with the Novan Alliance. Ethical collaboration, not conquest. Darius processed this information as they drew closer to the command ship. So this isn't just about saving Earth. It's about saving the soul of my civilization. Her voice softened. We were once explorers, diplomats, scholars, not conquerors. An alarm blared through the cockpit. On the display, the pursuing ships had renewed their approach, weapons charging. Zoran's override, Nyara confirmed grimly. We've lost our protected status. Darius took full control of the weapons systems. How close do we need to get to that exhaust port? Closer than I'd like. She initiated a series of complex maneuvers, the ship responding like an extension of her body. I'll get us there, just be ready. What followed was the most extraordinary display of piloting Darius had ever witnessed. Nyara guided the vessel through a maze of enemy fire, her movements anticipating each attack with uncanny precision. When a direct hit finally penetrated their shields, rocking the ship violently, she didn't flinch. Shields at 30%, she reported calmly. One more direct hit and we're exposed. We won't need shields if we're dead, Darius replied, returning fire with the ship's remaining weapons. How much closer? Almost there. The command ship filled their view screen now, its massive hull bristling with weapons. The port will be visible in 3, 2, 1. A small thermal vent appeared, barely distinguishable from the surrounding structure. That's it, Darius asked incredulously. That's it, Nyara initiated a rapid approach sequence. You'll have exactly one chance. The targeting system is there. She pointed to a display that immediately configured itself to human parameters. Darius focused, letting his military training take over. The targeting reticle aligned with the exhaust port as Nyara held the ship steady despite heavy fire surrounding them. Now Darius. He fired, the energy pulse left their vessel and streaked toward the command ship. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed to miss. Then it disappeared into the tiny port. Nothing happened. Did we? Darius began. The command ship's lights flickered. Then sections of the hull began to go dark, systems shutting down in sequence. Direct hit, Nyara confirmed, relief evident in her voice. You've disabled their main power core. They'll have emergency systems, but no weapons, no shields. Before they could celebrate, their own ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across the console. We've lost engine control, Niara announced, fighting with the unresponsive systems. That last hit did more damage than I thought. The vessel began to spiral toward Earth's atmosphere, gravity pulling them into an uncontrolled descent. Can you stabilize? Darius asked, strapping himself in tighter. Trying, sweat beaded on her purple skin as she worked the controls. There's a chance I can manage a controlled crash, but I'll do it. Their eyes met briefly. In that moment, something shifted between them, mutual respect deepening into something neither had anticipated. I need your help, she said. Take the secondary controls. When I give the signal, execute a full reverse thrust on my mark. Together, they fought the damaged ship's descent, working in perfect synchronization. As they entered the atmosphere, heat blazed around the viewport, the ship's hull groaning under the strain. We're coming in too steep, Darius warned. Trust me, Niara replied, her voice steady despite their peril. I was born navigating the storms of Luminari Prime. This is just another tempest. The ground rushed up to meet them. At the last possible moment, she cried out, now. Darius executed the reverse thrust. The ship bucked violently, then leveled just enough to transform what would have been a fatal impact into a brutal but survivable crash landing. When the motion finally stopped, silence fell. Darius realized he was still alive, though pain lanced through his body. Beside him, Niara hung limply in her restraints, a trickle of silvery blood running from a cut on her forehead. Niara, he reached for her, fear gripping his heart. Her eyes fluttered open. Did it work? We hit the target. The command ship is disabled. He helped her from her restraints. Are you hurt? Nothing serious, she winced as she straightened. Luminari heal quickly. Outside the view screen, they could see Earth forces surrounding the crash site. In the distance, the Luminari fleet hung motionless in the sky, their command structure in disarray without Zoran's leadership. What happens now? Darius asked quietly. Nyara's hand found his in the dim emergency lighting. Now, Colonel Hayes, we negotiate peace, not as enemies, not as captive and captor, but as equals. The warmth of her touch lingered as rescue teams began cutting through the ship's hull. Whatever came next, Darius knew with absolute certainty that nothing between Earth and the Luminari would ever be the same. Nor would he. The negotiations chamber of the United Earth Council gleamed with polished marble and sleek technology. 1 month had passed since the disabled Luminari command ship had surrendered, and today would determine the future relationship between two civilizations. Nyara stood beside Darius at the vast windows overlooking Geneva, her silver hair now styled in an Earth fashion that complemented her regal bearing. Her injuries from the crash had healed, leaving no visible scars on her purple skin. She wore a diplomatic uniform specially designed to honor both human and Luminari traditions, flowing silver fabric with Earth military accents. Nervous? Darius asked quietly. Luminari royalty doesn't get nervous, she replied with practiced dignity, then allowed a small smile. But if we did, yes, extremely. Darius had changed too. His promotion to brigadier general following their successful mission had surprised no one, though he remained uncomfortable with the hero of Earth accolades. More significant were the subtle changes in how he viewed the universe and the woman beside him. The council is ready for you both, announced an aide. They entered together, facing the assembled representatives of Earth's nations, and on the opposite side, the Luminari delegation. With Zoran imprisoned awaiting trial for war crimes, the Luminari were represented by their council of elders, who had quickly distanced themselves from his unsanctioned aggression. General Blackwood, now serving as Earth's military representative, nodded respectfully as they took their seats. Princess Nyara Valantir and Brigadier General Darius Hayes, the council president began, your unprecedented cooperation has brought us to this historic moment. Today, we formalize peace between our worlds. The formal proceedings began with traditional diplomatic exchanges, but Nyara's testimony became the emotional center of the gathering. My people stand at a crossroads, she explained, her voice carrying throughout the chamber. For generations, we've faced a genetic crisis threatening our extinction. Zoran chose conquest as the solution. I propose partnership instead. She activated a holographic display showing medical research conducted over the past month, collaborative work between Earth and Luminary scientists. Preliminary findings confirm what I've long believed. Compatible genetic markers exist between our species that could help address luminary fertility issues through ethical scientific exchange. Not through conquest or forced integration, but through mutual consent and shared knowledge. The lead Earth scientist, Dr. Patel, stepped forward to confirm her findings. Princess Nyara's research team had already made significant progress before arriving on Earth. With our combined efforts, we've accelerated potential treatments that benefit both species. Murmurs of approval spread through both delegations. Darius took his turn addressing the assembly, outlining the proposed military alliance that would incorporate luminary technology with Earth defense systems. Together, we create a stronger front against common threats while sharing exploration capabilities that neither could achieve alone. As the formal treaty took shape, Nyara found moments to observe Darius in his element, diplomatic yet straightforward, respected by both sides. How strange that her capture, intended as her end, had instead become her beginning. When the council adjourned for a brief recess, they stepped onto a private balcony overlooking Lake Geneva. They're going to accept the treaty, Darius said, relief evident in his voice. Your people, mine, were actually going to make this work. Did you doubt it? Nyara asked, turning to face him. After seeing you in action, never, his eyes softened. But there's still the question of your status. The Luminary Elders have officially recognized you as the rightful heir to the collective leadership. Nyara gazed out at the peaceful Earth landscape. They want me to return permanently, to assume my father's throne. A silence fell between them, heavy with unspoken implications. You should, Darius finally said, though his tone betrayed his conflicted feelings. Your people need you. You'd be an extraordinary leader. I would, she agreed, a hint of mischief in her eyes. But the treaty requires an Earth ambassador to the Luminary homeworld, someone who understands both military protocol and diplomatic nuance. Understanding dawned on his face. You've nominated me. The council has already approved it. She stepped closer. Unless you object to serving under a Luminary queen. Depends on the queen, he replied, his voice low. The professional distance they'd maintained throughout the negotiations dissolved as Nyara reached up to touch his face gently. When I surrendered to you that first day, I offered to serve you forever if you spared my life. You never accepted those terms. They were unnecessary, Darius replied, covering her hand with his. You proved yourself an ally, not a servant. And now her blue eyes searched his. Now I think we serve something greater together, this alliance, both our peoples. His hand moved to the small of her back, drawing her closer, and perhaps each other. The kiss that followed transcended their differences. Human and Luminary, soldier and royal, two beings from worlds apart who had found something unexpected in each other. When they finally parted, Nyara's skin glowed with an inner light that Darius now recognized as the luminary expression of deep emotion. The council will reconvene shortly, she whispered against his lips. Let them wait, he replied, drawing her back to him. We've earned this moment. 3 months later, the royal transport ascended from Earth's atmosphere, carrying the new Luminary Queen and her Earth ambassador to the Seven Systems. On the observation deck, Nyara and Darius watched as the blue planet receded into the distance. Having second thoughts, she asked, nodding his contemplative expression. Not one, he assured her, his arm around her waist, though I'm still getting used to all the bowing. Nyara laughed, the sound musical in the quiet chamber. Wait until they start calling you royal consort instead of ambassador. Is that where this is heading? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Time will tell, she turned in his arms. We have a fertility crisis to solve first, remember. Ah yes, the diplomatic genetic exchange program. His eyes sparkled with humor. Very serious business. Extremely serious, she agreed, leaning into his embrace. Requiring extensive personal involvement from both of us. As stars streaked past the viewport, Nyara reflected on the unlikely path that had brought them here. From captive princess to queen, from enemy to ally to something far more profound, the universe had strange ways of fulfilling destinies. What are you thinking about? Darius asked softly. That day in the cell, she admitted, when I offered to serve you forever if you spared my life. And now I'm the one following you across the galaxy. He smiled, tightening his arms around her. Fate has an interesting sense of humor. Indeed it does. She reached up to trace the new silver insignia on his uniform, a symbol of unity between their worlds. But I was right about one thing. What's that? Forever, she whispered, standing on tiptoe to kiss him as their ship accelerated toward her homeworld and their shared future. It's just beginning differently than either of us imagined. The starlight caught in her silver hair as Earth disappeared from view, one world fading as another beckoned. Not an ending, but a transformation for Nyara and Darius, for humans and Luminari, for two civilizations now bound not by chains or conquest, but by something far stronger. Hope, understanding, and the unexpected love that had blossomed between two beings who should have been enemies but had chosen a different path among the stars.